If you're looking to purchase a property with financing, you need to watch this video. Today, we're gonna be going over every single step that you need to take in order to purchase a property. We're gonna be going over the first things you should do even before you start looking. Then we're gonna talk about some things already when you're looking, already when you're already in the process of the purchase, right? When you're already under contract, and even what you should be expecting at the end. So we're gonna be talking about the whole entire process. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos about this, but I didn't really see one very clearly about each step that you need to take within the actual buying process. All right, guys, so we're gonna break it down for you guys so you have more knowledge and it's easier for you when it comes down time to actually start looking for property and you're under contract. So all right, guys, so let's not waste any more time and let's get started with this video right now. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another video. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Waisfeld, local real estate agent down here in Miami. And today we're gonna be talking about the steps, 10 steps that you need to take in order to purchase a property. We're gonna be talking specifically about financing, about getting a loan. Okay, if you're buying cash, I have another video talking about the buying process when you're buying cash. And this one we're gonna be talking about financing. About 60% of the country actually purchases financing. About 40% purchases are done cash. So I'm gonna be talking to that 60% of people who purchase with the finance, and either you have already done it a long time ago, you just wanna recap on how the process was, or maybe it's your first time buying a property. So if you're already looking at this video, it's because you're interested in learning and having more knowledge. So when you get down to business, you kind of already know what to expect, and I think that is amazing. That is why I'm making this video. Anyway, guys, let's get started with the first step. Of course, it's gonna be getting your finances right and your credit score. Well, even before you begin, then you need to really think and analyze, either with yourself or your partner or whoever you're gonna be buying with. You need to really sit down, pen and paper, and just analyze everything. Write everything down. Does it make sense? Are you ready for it? Are you ready to be a homeowner? Right? There's a lot of expenses associated with becoming a homeowner. I mean, if you're renting, then by all means, I have other videos talking about whether you should buy or rent. I suggest you go check that out. But you really need to ask yourself, are you ready to purchase? Are you ready to become a homeowner? Perfect. Now your finances, you have your finances right. Are you self-employed? Are you a business owner? Do you have a regular W-2 job, right? Do you have all that set up? I don't want to go into too much detail on what you need. The process is not about the financing process, it's about the whole buying process, right? So you need to get your finances right. And then also your credit score, right? You need to start working on your credit score. This is even before you start looking at homes, before you start talking to anyone. You need to get that credit score up. Even if you already have a great credit score, you can make it even better. The difference of a so-so credit score, or not even, the difference between, let's just say, a 600 and a 680, or a 650 and a 720 is a lot, because these loans are 30-year loans, right? So let's just say, and the difference between the credit scores, just to be clear, is gonna be your interest rate, right? So the better your credit score, the better your interest rate, or the lower the interest rate, right? So that small difference into a credit score, then that could mean a small difference in the interest rate. But that small interest in the interest rate over 30-year period, because the loans are 30 years, it's thousands and thousands of dollars, guys. So it's worth it to repair your credit if it's not that good, or even if it's already good. I always suggest getting a credit repair if you can, and just making that credit score, as high as possible before you get into the process. All right, guys, so that's gonna be step number one. The second step you need to take into the buying process is gonna be, how much can I afford? Ask yourself truly, how much can you really afford, right? Without even looking too much into the finances and looking too much into your credit and this and that. How much can you afford per month is the first question. And then how much money, cash, do you have to invest in this property? Just so we're clear, when I'm talking to you about how much you can afford per month, is very important. For me as a real estate agent, this is one of the main questions when I'm qualifying the person. Because some people will say, oh, I want to buy a property, $500,000. So I'm like, all right, but how much monthly can you afford? What are you comfortable with? Right? You don't want to buy a home that's way above your budget, and then every single month you're tight, and you can't really, you're pretty much like house broke, right? That's what they call it, right? So you don't want to do that to yourself either, right? So can you afford $3,000 a month, $4,000, $5,000 a month? That's something you need to ask yourself. Okay, guys, if you're paying rent, okay, how much more can you go up? If you're gonna purchase, usually it's gonna be a little bit more than what you're paying in rent, sometimes a lot more. It's usually never less, that's for sure, unless you put in a really big down payment. But always expect a little bit more than what you're paying in rent. All right, so if you guys are paying $2,000 in rent, maybe your mortgage and everything, maybe $2,500 or $3,000 a month. You just need to really ask yourself that. Because once you know that, you got to tell your real estate agent, hey, or your lender, hey, I cannot go past this number. This is my number. And then we as the real estate agents will base that search, with your criteria. We'll do the numbers and say, okay, this is pretty much around what they need to spend per month. This is a lot higher, this is below. Okay, guys, so it's very important for you to analyze how much you can afford per month. And also, how much cash do you have? Are you ready? How much cash are you gonna need? You're probably asking yourself. You're gonna need approximately the lowest, around 7-8% is gonna be the lowest. That's gonna be with the 3% down, 3.5 down, and maybe another 4% for closing costs. All right, guys, so around 7-8% is gonna be on the lowest side. Okay, so whatever you're thinking, just do that number, right? If you're gonna do 400,000, 4 times 7, 28, so you're gonna get around $28,000 right there, right? So expect around 25, 30,000 at lowest, right? This is probably the $400,000 price range, which is pretty much all over the country, right? I will say medium price range, 450. Okay, guys, so just expect those 30 grand like the lowest. If you're gonna be buying into a condo, then expect 20-25%. So then we're talking about $150,000, $200,000, right? So you just need to analyze how much can you afford per month and how much money do you have to put down and closing costs. Next thing is to start talking to a real estate agent. I really suggest you work with one agent. Do not go into these websites online and just start calling each agent, because you're never gonna get someone to really understand your wants, your needs. I work with people that just work with me, and I work with just a few buyers or sellers at the time, because I want to provide the best service, and I expect the same from my buyers. So pretty much I can really analyze their situation. I know their criteria, I know their wants, their needs, I know what kind of properties. Just when I'm analyzing, I'm doing comps or whatever it is, I know my clients, what they're looking for. If you're just talking to a bunch of different agents, you're never gonna get one that really understands you. So I really suggest you find that one agent, or interview a few, but just stick with one agent. And that one agent is also, or should also have a lender, right? They should contact you with their lender, or if you have your own lender, that's fine as well. Just make sure you're comfortable with the team that you're building, the team that you're working with. Your agent, your lender, the insurance guy, the inspection guy that I'm gonna get into right now, title company, all of this team that you're building to buy a house. Just make sure you're comfortable starting at the real estate agent, because usually that real estate agent has that whole team behind them. Okay, guys, so make sure you go out and find a real estate agent that you're happy with, and then next step is going to be finding the lender. After you find the agent and the lender will start qualifying you, and they're going to give you a pre-approval. After you give them all the finances, everything, they're going to ask you, just be prepared. They're going to ask you many questions, many documents, W-2s, pay stubs, this and that. Once they get all that, they're going to give you a pre-approval letter. You need that pre-approval letter before you start searching for properties. Okay, so this step right here is very crucial. You need the pre-approval. You want to make sure that you're qualified for that number that you're thinking about. Your agent wants to know, and also when you're looking at properties, sellers want to know that whoever's going in the house is qualified and has a pre-approval. All right, guys, so make sure you do not skip this part. You need that pre-approval before you even start looking for properties. The next step is going to be looking for properties. You can look at properties on Google, online, on Zillow, on Realtor, all these websites. There's tons of websites out there, but most importantly is your agent providing you with properties, because once you do a consultation, they know your wants, your needs, your criteria. We as agents, we have a lot more access to properties, and we have a lot more filters and options. Many of them are not in these online platforms like Zillow and Realtor. They don't have a lot of the filters that we have. But make sure that realtor that you're working with is also providing you properties, all right? And then you can also send them properties that you like, but it's very important for you to also always send them the properties. They need to analyze it, run comps, read the descriptions. Sometimes there's a broker's remark that you as buyers can never see, and us agents, we see that on the MLS. And sometimes that broker remark might say, hey, this property is rented for 1 more year, or this property has this or that. And sometimes you may not see that, right? Because that doesn't appear in any of these other platforms. So it's very important for you to send your agent all of those properties. They need to analyze it and see if it makes sense, if it meets your criteria. If so, then they could, you could schedule a showing. So after you start looking for properties, you find a property that you like, the next step is submitting an offer. Right, guys? So now you submit an offer, and here comes the interesting part, the most important part. All right, your agent is hopefully gonna help you out with the comps, seeing how much they think it's worth, how much you should send. You know, there's a lot that go into that sending an offer, the terms, right? There's a lot of demand for that property, then maybe you need to fix those terms, maybe lower the inspection days, maybe you got to put more down payment, maybe the purchase price. There's a lot of things that you can do there as with the offer, all right? But next step is pretty much sending that offer. Next step after that is gonna be, hopefully, crossing fingers, they accept that offer. Once the sellers accept that offer, you have an executed contract. That means the buyers and the sellers have signed the purchase agreement. So now you are under contract and you have executed contract, executed agreement. Now all the dates start, all the crucial dates. Your agent's gonna be helping you with very, very important. Now you're already into the buying process. Great. So you already got qualified, you already got pre-approved, you know your numbers, you know your monthly payments, you know all these things. You started looking for homes, you found a home, you sent an offer, now they accepted it, now you're into the negotiation part of the process. So once you submit the offer and they accept, now you have different days to do inspection, right? It could be 7 days, 5 days, 10 days, 14 days. All right, guys? It really depends on the demand, it really depends what you guys negotiated. But now during this inspection period, especially down here in South Florida or in Florida in general, you have the right to cancel. So during this inspection period is my favorite part, because it's the negotiation part. All right, because if you guys find that the roof is bad, the AC is bad, problems that you found, electrical panel, some outlets are wrong, so whatever it is, you can negotiate. You don't have to move forward with this purchase, right? Me personally, I love to negotiate, especially when I find things wrong with the property. So this is a crucial time because you only have those days to negotiate and to try to get a credit or try to have them repair something or to even cancel if you don't want to move forward with the property. Right, so these days are very, very crucial, the negotiation and inspection days. So after you have negotiated or you move forward, let's just say everything went well, you moved forward, or let's just say you got a credit, okay guys, and you're just continuing to the next step. After that, it's gonna be, if it's a condo, you're gonna have to apply for the condo association. If it's a community, like a townhome community, you also have to apply for the association. So you're gonna have a condo application, your agent is gonna provide that to you, and you're gonna apply. If there is no association, no HOA, just a regular house, then you don't have that step, but you will have the appraisal step. So after you're doing all these things that I mentioned, the lender is gonna also be reaching out to you, and you have to do an appraisal. The appraisal, you as the buyer, you have to pay that. I don't know how much it is in different states. Down here in Florida, it could be anywhere from $400 to $600. $550, I've seen it. From $400 to $550 is the price range that I've seen the appraisals. So that's something that you have to pay out of pocket during the time of appraisal. The bank, this means that the bank is gonna send out an appraiser, professional licensed appraiser, to the property, and they're gonna determine how much that property is worth. Why? Because the bank is never gonna let you borrow more money than what that property is worth. And just because you're buying that property at $500,000 does not mean that that property is worth $500,000. The bank is gonna run their own comps. They're gonna do an appraisal. Okay, guys. So if they determine that that property is only worth $480, then and you're under contract at $500, then you have to see what you do with that difference of $20,000. You can either negotiate that, you can pay that cash. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about that detail because that has to do already with appraisal contingencies, etc. I don't want to go into that, but just keep in mind there's gonna be an appraisal. So meanwhile, the bank is doing the appraisal, the title company is also doing their thing from pretty much day one. So while appraiser and the lenders are doing their thing, the title company is doing their thing. The title company is pretty much reaching out to the buyers, to the sellers. If there's HOA, they're reaching out to the HOA. They're making sure the title is clean. There's no money owed, there's no debts, there's no liens, there's no problems with the property itself, right? That's pretty much what they do. But they're involved in the whole entire process as soon as we're under contract. So you're gonna be under communication, in communication with the title company and the lenders all the time, right? They're gonna be asking for more things. They're gonna be asking you what name you want the property under, if you're gonna be present in closing or not. So title company is pretty much on your side. The lenders are also on your side. See, that's what I'm saying. This whole little team that you built, you put together with your agent, the lender, the inspector, the title company, is all on your side, right? So they're looking out for your best interest. They're trying to make it happen for you, and just Just keep that in mind, right? So title company is going to be doing their thing. And pretty much the last step is going to be, everything went, let's just say everything went well, the appraisal went well, the inspection went well, title company didn't find any problems, they're pretty much done with all the search. You're pretty much to the last days, and then the last days, right, everything went smoothly. We're pretty much in day 45, day 40 of after you were under contract, right? Day 40. This is pretty much almost the end. Everything's going well, everything is pretty much done. Now you're gonna get a letter or email from the lender called the CD, a closing disclosure, and also the HUD, a preliminary HUD from the title company with all the numbers, right? Now you're gonna get all the numbers in more detail. Very important for you to look at these numbers. I usually see these numbers, there's always something wrong. Not because they're not professional, but because lenders and title companies, they're communicating back and forth, and sometimes there may be a number that they put wrong or they didn't see, or maybe you got a credit from a seller and title company has that but the lenders don't, or vice versa. So usually I always see something. So it's very important for you to go over every single detail on that HUD, on that CD, making sure those numbers are good. Go over it with your agent or with your lender or with your title company. Just make sure you go over it number by number. If everything looks good, everything looks well, then perfect, you're pretty much done. You're gonna sign on the last few days. Also, the title company is gonna let you know what your balance is, what your cash to close is. So the day of closing, or maybe the day before, you're gonna go to the bank and wire that money to the title company, right? It could be 70,000, 30,000, 100,000, 200,000, whatever that number is. They're gonna tell you exactly what that number is. You're gonna go to the bank, wire that money, and if you do this the day of closing, after you do that, you're also gonna do the walkthrough. Make sure you schedule a walkthrough just to see if the property is in the same condition, everything is good. If it was supposed to be vacant, that it's vacant. If it was supposed to be unfurnished, that it's fully unfurnished, right? Just walk through, make sure. I've never had a problem with the walkthrough. Just make sure that everything is good. And after that, most likely you're gonna go to the title company and sign. And after the sellers get their money, they're gonna give you your keys, and that is it. You're a homeowner. This is the whole process to buying a property. And congratulations, guys. I really hope that this does become true and you do become a homeowner if you're not already so. Anyway, guys, it's a long video. I mean, it's a long process. Remember, this process takes 45 days. So I just did 45 days in 20 minutes. Right? So it's a lot of things that going on. Do not be worried. Your agent is always going to provide you information, always going to provide you updates. The title company is the same thing, lenders the same thing. So you have all of these people working on your side, right? So do not worry. It's all going to be smooth, hopefully. And at least you're watching these type of videos, so you already have more knowledge and know how, you know what to expect, and you know a little bit more how the process actually works. All right, guys, if you're looking to invest or buy a property down here in Miami or South Florida, please feel free to reach out to you. My team and I would love to help you. We can schedule a one-on-one Zoom call and talk about everything in more detail. You have all my contact information down below in the description and also here on the screen. I'll be more than happy to talk to you and get you settled down here in South Florida. Thank you so much, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.